Hello, and welcome to Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I am your nocturnal vampire with a scythe, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome to another episode of Bloodhaus. How are you doing, Josh?
I'm good. I decided on a whim to rent a cottage in rural Washington State for a week and just do a little writer's retreat. So I'm leaving tomorrow and I'll be back on Saturday, and I can't wait.
That sounds really amazing. And
it's my
also
dream life.
really, really restful. The whole writer's retreat, the cabin in the woods, Unabomber idea of writing your screenplay is so idyllic.
It really works for me too. I finished a screenplay that way 2 years ago. I rented a cabin in Idlewild and I went by myself. And it turned out to be right by an abandoned or shut down summer camp. And I was like, boy, I've seen this movie before.
Did a creepy man tell you as you got close, don't go there? Terrible things have happened there.
You're going to Camp Blood, ain't ya? I felt like if someone said that I was, a character for Halloween, I was like, if I'm anybody, it's that woman in Halloween 2 who's making a sandwich in the beginning. That old lady.
Who gets stabbed with her sandwich knife.
Yeah, with the mayonnaise on it.
If I'm anyone in Halloween 2, it's the lady who's frustratedly taking her son to the hospital when he has a razor blade in his mouth. Being ugh, you had to eat the candy.
Which is also, I feel like I talk about this a lot, a moral panic. It's a thing that never happened.
That never happened.
Ooh, although I do have to, I've had 1 million coffees, excuse me. I've been meaning to say that I have to issue a correction about something that I said a few episodes back, where I talked about how no Gen Xers actually saw the Challenger explosion at school. Technically, some people, many people have been eager to point out to me that's not exactly true, because there was a NASA program where a few choice schools had a hookup to watch it live, but not that many. So the spirit of what I said was correct, but factually it was incorrect. We just say things on this show. I mean,
the spirit of what we say is intended to be true. It doesn't matter what the facts are. Facts don't care about your feelings. My favorite thing about
feelings don't care about your facts.
Yeah, that too. My favorite anecdote about the Challenger explosion was that yes, there was a NASA program that was integrating it with schools. That is true. But they were doing a lot of work at that time to dispel rumors of space travel being difficult or dangerous or scary. And they had reached out to PBS to try and get a partnership in which they would have Big Bird go on to the Challenger.
Oh my goodness.
And Big Bird would have waved to the kids and gone. I believe I don't think they were ever intending an actor to go to space, obviously, or a performer to go to space. I think they were just intending them to wave and say hi and then go into the ship and then go off, and the kids would be like, wow, Big Bird's in space. And it was supposed to be this whole big thing, and it fell through at the last minute, and oh my god, aren't we glad it did? I
kind of wish that happened, though, because it would be so interesting. Just
the shared cultural trauma of a childhood icon. It would be if SpongeBob was in 9/11.
Yeah,
for my generation.
It's I just immediately thought of this crazy Gen X. What do you call it? Weird thing that happened. Have you ever seen the Pee-wee's Christmas special? Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas special?
Weirdly, I have not. My girlfriend has. She watches it frequently, but I have not.
It's great, but at some point, Pee-wee receives a giant gift that is meant to be going to the White House, to the Reagans. And he opens it, and it is Grace Jones in a metallic bustier who sings The Little Drummer Boy. And I love the idea of Ronald and Nancy Reagan opening a giant gift on Christmas morning and it being Grace Jones. So crazy.
God, I love Grace Jones so much.
The best. The absolute best. I'm sure she would much rather be at Pee-wee's Playhouse than the White House with the Reagans anyway.
I'm just going to put it out there. That sounds like a failed assassination attempt. I don't think the Gipper would have loved that.
Now my imagination is racing. Like
John Hinckley packaging up Grace Jones.
Grace Jones is already such an icon, but how iconic would she be if she had murdered the Reagans IRL on Christmas morning by sneaking in a giant Christmas gift?
Oh my God.
I mean, the hero we all need.
Grace Jones is alive. The Reagans are not. What does this say?
Yeah.
Maybe she did.
We all won.
Maybe she did.
How are you? What's been going on?
I'm good. I've been having some back pain the past few days. So
worst.
Just, I had to schedule time for some massages and stuff like that, which, it's a break from routine. I have to trust a stranger to touch my body. But other than that, it's great and lovely. So doing a little bit better than I was, but still have some pain. And so if you obviously the listeners will just be hearing my voice, but if Josh sees me moving my arm a lot, there's a reason to it. I'm not having an epileptic fit or something like that. I'm just trying to work out the bunched up muscles.
Is it your lower back?
It's my upper back. It's my trapezius. It's a triangular kind of term to describe that part of your... Listen, I got kicked out of my high school while I was taking anatomy, and my next high school didn't offer anatomy, so it's not my fault. It's the public school failing.
I'm the dumb one here, if anyone's dumb. Have you been watching anything cool?
Yeah, I went to the theaters to see a new movie that I believe at the point of recording is currently only out theatrically in Los Angeles and New York. But I think by the time this episode airs, you should be able to see it any and everywhere. It is the new film, and once again, with in less than 6 months, the new film by Greek icon and mentioned on the show many times, Yorgos Lanthimos, Kinds of Kindness, his new anthology film.
Quaking with jealousy that you saw it. I didn't even know that it was an anthology film. Okay, I can't wait to hear all about
it. Listeners can hear this crinkling.
What is that? This is an ASMR portion.
Yeah. Where they sent me home with a keychain and an air freshener of the movie poster, which is cool. That's not I didn't go to a special every single screening this past weekend that's been showing it in New York and LA has been handing these out. So Josh, you have today to go get one of these. Listeners, as far as I know, these are gone. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's about 3 hours long. It stars Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, Jesse Plemons, Hung Chow, Margaret Qualley, and a handful of other performers in 3 separate narratives that have one mysterious through line to them, but also are connected by these actors playing different characters in each one that kind of create a subtextual or metatextual connection between them. It's really fascinating. It's really fucked up. It's really funny. It's really strange. It is very long. My recommendation is to go see it at 2 p.m. Or something like that. Make it a matinee.
Right.
There's a lot of screenings around town of it at 10:30 p.m. and that's not the move.
No.
It is deliberately paced. It does have kind of that dream surrealist quality of the films of Buñuel and stuff like that. But this is the first film from Yorgos Lanthimos to be written by himself and his consistent Greek co-writer Ethemis Philippou since Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Oh, okay. Wow.
This is the first time this co-writer also did Dogtooth and The Lobster and Alps. But Yorgos has only been working on projects written by Tony McNamara since
Right.
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Who's excellent.
Who's excellent. And though, both The Favorite and Poor Things kind of have had like crossover success, have both been period films.
Mm-hmm.
This is mean again.
Ooh, I can't wait.
This is mean and vicious. And I don't want to give away anything that the like marketing for the movie already does. So all I will say is that Emma Stone does a dance. There is a wildly erratically driven Dodge Challenger. There is at a point a severed thumb. There is at a point a battered tennis racket. There is at a point water. There is at a point dogs.
Okay.
I will say these things. I will remain as cryptic as the marketing is, because I do think it is effective and is deserved. There are lines in this movie I will be quoting for the rest of my life. I think it's very, very good. I think it's very, very funny. I think it's definitely fucking weird. I think it's for very specific tastes only. It kind of like, do you remember some of the like original posters and trailers for The Devils would always start with like, The Devils is not a film for everyone. Like, please do not come. Yeah. The Kinds of Kindness feels like that, but it's being released by Searchlight Pictures, i.e. Disney, onto like large Dolby and IMAX screens. I don't know if it's an IMAX, but it's definitely in Dolby, like at like every AMC across the country. Like,
I can't wait. I love that. You saying AMC just made me remember that I had a really terrible anxiety dream last night where I received a call from like a credit collection company. It was a really scary man.
God.
He said that I owed $4,000 to AMC, which with interest was $8,000. And the reason being was because every movie ticket I'd ever bought, I guess, in my life, in retrospect, my card had been declined. So I was on the hook for all of that money to AMC. I think it's like an anxiety dream about not having a job, but
that's understandable.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
One thing
I thought you were going to say you're
having
that you're having an anxiety dream about all of your friends trying to convince you to get the AMC A-list membership, and you're like, no, I don't need it. I'm not going to see 3 movies a week. I don't need it. I understand that it's cheaper, but please, no, stop.
Yeah, I don't want that. There's not 3 movies a week that I want to see. I'm not somebody who just like can go to the movies for fun and just watch anything. Like I don't want to do that. I need to want to see a movie to go. If one thing Yorgos Lanthimos is going to do, it's going to put a silly little dance in his movie.
He loves to put a silly little dance in his movie. Yeah. And the silly little dance in Kinds of Kindness comes very near the end and is well worth it. And it's so earned. And it's Emma Stone. Apparently, it's a dance that she improv just between takes on the set of Poor Things, just to like keep the energy up on the day, and kind of get through stuff. And then she just texted the video of it to Yorgos being like, this is what we're doing on set right now while you're not here. And he was like, this is great. You should do this in Kinds of Kindness. And she was like, oh, okay. I
love it.
A lot of fun. I think you in particular are going to have a good time with it. It's definitely not for everyone. It's barely come out yet, so I'm only seeing like a trickle in of people having seen it and reviewed it. And while the overwhelming majority is like positive from people I've heard, I am very quickly sensing and preparing for a backlash of like,
oh, it's coming.
People
I guarantee it,
coming to tear this movie apart, and the variety of reviews of like Kinds of Kindness didn't do well at the box office, and you're like, no shit. So see it, prove them wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. Who cares? I mean, of course, business people care what the box office is. But as a fan of movies, like, I don't care about the box office. That's for like, people's taste is terrible. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not an indicator that a movie is good or bad. If anything, I mean, I'm a total snob, but like if a movie has like a high critic rating and a low audience rating, I'm like, I know that I will like that movie.
Yeah, that's your selling point. Well, also the whole like metric of like um box office receipts like determining like intrinsic like value to a movie was something that was like, created in the like late 80s early 90s with like Die Hard and shit like that.
Yeah,
It's like bupkis, it's bullshit, it's fake,
it's gross.
and it has not done this industry well.
No,
Like
it sucks.
anyway, have you seen anything recently? Do you owe any extra money to AMC?
Oy vey. I mean, nothing that I want to talk about. I mean, I've been watching like bad reality shows, like Who's Afraid of Cheap Old Houses, which is the Cheap Old Houses Instagram account. That couple that runs that account, and they like help people buy these beautiful old Victorians and restore them. So I've been watching that. And I did watch a movie at my friend's house with a big group of friends. We'd seen the trailer before Late Night with the Devil. You know how Alamo plays like old trailers that are thematically associated in some way?
Yeah, they rule for that, I will say.
They do rule for that. And we saw a trailer there for a 70s movie called Satan's Cheerleaders. And my friend was like, I'm ordering this right now. And we're all watching it. And so we all got together and watched Satan's Cheerleaders. It's really fun. I think if you watched it alone, it might be kind of sloggy because it's actually a bad movie. And it's a bad movie in the way that is traditionally fun to watch with a big group of people and make fun of. And I recommend it because I feel like sometimes when people talk about a movie being so bad it's good, they're often talking about something like Killer Clowns from Outer Space or Rocky Horror Picture Show.
These are actually good movies that have like intrinsic value to them, that are intended to be funny and campy and succeed on their own merits.
Exactly. So I feel like people have actually, I mean, I talked about this on the walk home with my partner, and I was like, I feel like people don't watch bad movies anymore for fun. And he was like, it feels like very 90s, actually. It feels like a 90s thing to do.
Now it's called hate watching, and it's usually reserved for like shows like Velma or the new Star Wars show, The Acolyte.
Oh, people hate watching that?
Yeah.
I know that people really hate watched Riverdale, but that's like a bad show. Again, it's like a terrible show. So it has the same quality as like you're making fun of it. And, you know.
Well, Riverdale for me had the qualities, because I watched the first, I think, 3 or 4 seasons before I fell off, had the qualities for me that I find in like Valley of the Dolls, where I like am both like genuinely enthralled and hooked in by the cast, the story, and things like that, while I am and genuinely like moved or scared or laugh along with it on its own merits, where like a scene later it will throw me out so hard that I'll be like shocked, horrified, and making fun of it, not on its own terms. But then it'll keep oscillating between those two, where I'm like, I need to keep watching because I'm enjoying this, but also I need to brag to my friends that they're doing this on Riverdale, that they did a whole season that it's like, no, D&D is like an actual like supernatural thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking stupid. Like,
it is stupid. I feel like, yeah, so Satan's Cheerleaders is like The Room or something like that, or like Samurai Cop. It is incompetently made, poorly acted, terribly conceived, such a relic of the 70s because it's really about like boobs and girls. But super fun if you're with the right group of people, maybe imbibing in some sort of substance, which I don't do, but I recommend it if you're going to watch Satan's Cheerleaders. But what I wanted to talk to you about was a book, actually, and it's one of the Paperbacks from Hell, which I've talked about before, but Paperbacks from Hell is so great. And listener, if you don't know about them, they take kind of lost horror novels from the 70s and 80s and reissue them with their original cover for cheap. And these are mostly books that have been kind of forgotten, that are long out of print, that are rare. And for like $100, I got a box set of them. So I got like 15 of them.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've just been like reading them as like a break between reading, kind of more serious literary things. And oftentimes they're not good books, but they're really fun. But I'm reading one now that is both fun and as a horror novel, but also like good enough to be literary.
What's it called?
Drusilla, you would love it. It's called Black Ambrosia by Elizabeth Engstrom. And I'm only halfway through it. But basically, it's about a 16-year-old vampire who was born a vampire. She doesn't use that word. She's only just now sort of realizing what she is. And she's on her own in the world. Her mother has died. And she's like hitchhiking around America. So it has the quality of like a Sean Baker movie because she's hanging out in like bus stations and truck stops. And she has a growing desire to drink men's blood. And she's a beautiful 16-year-old girl who's kind of like, it's written in her point of view. She's kind of a sociopath. She doesn't understand the way that people have feelings or why. And she's just like hitchhiking around America in the 70s, going to like grimy places like bus stations and drinking men's blood so far. And it's really good. It's very beautifully written. And it's a woman author, which is a little bit rare for the time, I would guess. It's just awesome. I love it. I'm like, why didn't anyone make a movie of it? It kind of feels like, I don't know, like Girl Walks Home Alone at Night or like Florida Project even. It's giving The Heart is a not The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. The Heart is Deceitful Above All Things. It's really cool. So it's called Black Ambrosia by Elizabeth Engstrom, and I love it. And maybe I should get the rights to it before someone else does.
I mean, I support this. That sounds amazing. I deeply, deeply love Grady Hendrix's original Paperbacks from Hell, like art book of all the covers. And I'm so glad that this project is happening and bring so many of these incredible books back into print, because there's so many of these are ones that had been on my list of like, I need to find this fucking book, but it's like $300 on thrift books or eBay. One that I've been wanting to read for so long is called Let's Go Play at the Adamses.
I have that. That's in the pile.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but it's in the box that I got.
It's one I'd heard about so often, both growing up and like from interviews with filmmakers and film critics talking about like fucked up books from the 70s and 80s. And it was frequently just like, I think someone tried to make it into a movie and it never happened. But it's about like kids torturing their babysitter.
Yeah.
And it's like supposed to be super fucked up, and I've like been wanting to read it forever, and like now that Paperbacks from Hell has it back out along with all of these other like undiscovered gems, and also stuff like The Pack and The Nest that were turned into big horror films in the 80s. I honestly need to do that myself. I'm like so deeply out of shelf space in my home.
Me too.
Especially for paperbacks, because I collect vintage like pulp paperbacks and stuff like that. Horror ones are really hard to come by. So I need to buy a lot of these, but I also like, I always feel bad because I don't ever have time to read. I'm always like, work on my design stuff, and then work on design, and occasionally maybe if I have time writing or music stuff later in the day, and then it's like time to watch a movie, and then it's 1 a.m. How to go to bed, do it all over again.
Yeah, I read in bed. If I'm not reading any time else, I read like the last 30 minutes before I sleep. Like I read in bed with a little book light. And so does Joel.
That's fucking adorable.
That's how we end our day. We both read in bed for an hour and then fall asleep. That's really sweet.
Adorable. We just watched Northern Exposure. It'd like braid each other's hair, but like whatever.
Yeah. That's like a sapphic dream.
Yeah, Ed from Northern Exposure. Both of us going, he's so cute.
Well, speaking of sapphic dreams, do you like how I did that?
I got caught, hoisted by my own petard.
I don't know if this is really much of a sapphic movie, but it's based on a sapphic story at least. So from 1932, directed by Carl Theodor Dreyer, we are discussing Vampyr. You picked this. Have you seen this before?
I had seen it in, I want to say, a high school, and I feel like it was shown to us later when I was in college. But it's a movie that I have a weird history with because It's a very dreamlike movie, and almost
Mhm.
every time I watch it, I have to fight against an urge to like fall asleep or just suddenly find myself asleep during it.
Yeah.
That's not a knock against the quality of the movie. It is just something that the movie kind of casts its spell. Everyone that I've
Yeah.
talked to kind of has this about it. It's also a
Mhm.
short movie. It's barely an hour long, but it has
It doesn't feel
such
short. But go
yeah,
on.
it is paced, and it is we'll also get into the technical aspects of it. Um but it's a movie that like the images, ideas, and effects of have lasted in my subconscious and my dreams for a very long time. It's one I think about a lot, especially when I'm writing my own material or sketching out concepts for either poster concepts for my work or just shot concepts for projects I'm working on. And so it's one that like it's also very much a like art house horror text, and so it's
Mhm.
been on the list very early on for something for us to discuss, and it's just kind of been percolating in my head a lot lately. So I've been wanting to like dive back in and watch it with clear eyes. I will say, rewatching it last night, I found myself having to like force my eyelids open at a few points, and then I looked
Mhm.
over and Ivory's head like dropped, and I was like, "Yup, all right, there it is." It like
Yeah.
it's inescapable. I don't know what it is about this movie, and I think it's magical and incredible. I don't know. What is this your first experience with this movie? Also, is this your first
Yes.
experience with Carl Theodor Dreyer?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
I have not seen his movie about Joan of Arc, which is, I think, maybe more famous than this, right?
The Passion of Joan
Joan
of
of Arc.
Arc. It has really kind of gained notoriety in the past 40, 50 years, especially after, the inclusion in so many best of lists and
Mhm.
visually on screen in Jean-Luc Godard's Vive sa vie. It's really become, again, like an art house cinema, like
Yeah.
baseline number one. Um,
Yeah. No, I hadn't seen anything by him. Of course, I knew his name. I had heard of this movie. I feel like I'd seen images of it, but it's possible that I might be thinking of images from Nosferatu or 100 other, sort of silent film ish or a little bit after movies. Um, yeah, I thought it was very beautiful. I loved the title card. Speaking of like your work and poster design, the title and font, I was like, this is so beautiful. I appreciated that I got to read a full book during this movie because it constantly makes you read a full page of text,
yeah.
which I don't mind. I like the look of it. I'm into it. I think that soporific quality that you're describing, my guess is that, this deals with a lot of sort of dreamy imagery and surrealism. And it doesn't really have much of a narrative. Like
Yeah.
the story is a little bit abstracted for me anyway. That was my perception of it. I was like, I cannot follow this story at all. And so I think that helps in that too. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I could describe the plot of this to you. It's inspired by Carmilla, which is one of the short stories in Through a Glass Darkly, which is a book of
In a
5
Glass
short
Darkly.
stories. Oh, In a Glass Darkly,
Yeah.
thank you. A book of short stories from the late 1800s. So it's borrowing from that lesbian vampire text and also a story about someone being buried alive. Those are the two stories that it draws from the most. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, it's like a Jonathan Harker type figure whose name is Alan Gray arrives at an inn in the village of Courtempiere and rents a room, and someone comes to visit him in the night and leaves him a book that's wrapped in paper that says to be opened upon my death. And he kind of just goes down a rabbit hole, which leads to these two sisters who are being plagued by a vampire, and he's trying to save them. And I don't know what else. Help me.
Yeah.
It's so hard to describe.
It's very hard to describe. Alan Gray is like student of the occult who travels around Europe investigating ghosts and particularly vampires, and he shows up with his little like bag and bundle with like a net. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna go like catch butterflies. And yeah, he stays at this inn at which a man suddenly appears to him in the middle of him having nightmares saying, "You can't let her die," and then leaves a parcel that says, "Do not open until my death."
Yeah.
And then when he goes into town to find this, whoever this man was or whatever the hell happened, he comes across an abandoned mill, where there seems to be ghostly figures and shadows moving around, and a
Incredible
very
set piece.
incredible set piece, and a very odd, suspicious old woman that moves through this mill and seems to have command over these ghosts and spirits, and then finds the large chateau of the man who visited him at the night, where his two daughters, one in particular, is being plagued by a blood disorder that he isn't able to find and suss out. And when that man, their father, is suddenly shot in the back by a ghost, the ghost of a condemned man, I will also say, it is put upon Alan Gray to take care of these girls, open up the book, which is a like history of vampires. It's kind of a like Buffy moment of the book Vampyr,
Yeah.
and start investigating into this. However, his investigation leads him kind of into a romance with one of the daughters and into being poisoned and having an out-of-body experience that leads to him being
So
buried
bizarre.
alive. Meanwhile, the groundskeeper of the estate also finds the book and is like, "Oh yeah, okay, you put a stake in the vampire, I'll just go do that." And so he figures it out and he takes care of it while Alan Gray is tripping balls in a coffin.
I am so impressed because I could not explain this movie in terms that way. And I was not looking at my phone or things like that. I was watching this movie and I was like, I am lost in some of these moments.
This is my third time at least seeing this movie. And I've also watched multiple video essays on it on the Criterion release and on the Criterion channel. They produced a lot of different pieces. Apparently there's a commentary track on this by Guillermo del Toro on the UK release of it, which I would like to get Sully to hear that. He's
That's really
apparently
cool.
a very, very, very big fan of this movie, as are a lot of big horror films.
Does not surprise me at all. I mean, the film looks incredible. It has some technical things that are just, I assume, very groundbreaking. And there are moments I was like, how did they do that in the early 30s? You know, you mentioned the shadows. There's like a sort of a veteran who's missing a leg. He's got kind of a peg leg. And Alan Gray is at that mill and he sees that person's shadow walk away like Bram Stoker's Dracula and kind of go on the move and then come back. It's like, how did they do that in camera in the 1930s? Yeah. You mentioned the sort of astral projection when he's like buried alive and he's outside of his body. That whole thing, I was like, I don't know how they did this. And I mean, I kind of have an idea, but you know, there's just things like that that seem technically so groundbreaking and cool in the movie.
Mm-hmm. The movie is very technically stylish and groundbreaking. Dreyer was very much enamored and obsessed with modernism. He lived in Paris in the 1920s and 30s before the production of this movie. He was very much into Cubism and Surrealism and all the art movements that were taking hold at the time and interjected them a lot into that. You can really see the visual language of modernism in The Passion of Joan of Arc. A lot of the like that movie is primarily, I will say, shot in like close-ups,
which was new. I mean, that's sort of groundbreaking, right?
Yeah,
to be working in close-ups at that time.
And yeah, almost the entire movie is, and that is a silent film. It's very, very jarring. The few bits of sets we get later in the film are very reminiscent of the production design by Derek Jarman in The Devils. Very clean, white. Vampyr,
kind of austere.
Very austere. Vampyr is his follow-up to that. So Passion of Joan of Arc did not do well commercially, much like I Anticipate Kinds of Kindness won't. And it apparently did so poorly that prints of it was considered a lost film for many years until it was rediscovered in I think the 50s or 60s. But Dreyer's next film project was entirely scrapped by the studio because of how poorly it did. Um,
Yeah.
and so he found a like nobleman or a count or something who
A
was independently
baron.
a baron
Yeah.
named Julien Vist, who agreed to finance whatever he wanted to do for his next project as long as he could play the lead in it. And
Well,
that's
actually,
the guy who plays Alan Gray.
that wasn't his real name. That was his pseudonym.
Oh,
His real name was Nicholas de Gunsberg, credited as Julian West. He
hot.
or Julian West, if you prefer. But he, yeah, like, as you said, he agreed to finance the film as long as he got to star in it, which makes sense to me because I was watching this movie and I was like, why is this guy the lead in the movie? He's not good. Even, you know what I mean? He's not handsome. He's not a very good actor, even for a movie with very little talking on it. I was like not impressed by his performance, and then I read that and I was like, oh, there we go.
That makes sense to me, but it's funny because when we were watching it, Ivory turned to me like 30 minutes in and was like, I like this guy. I don't whoever this guy is, he's great for this. He's like very, very good. I was like, oh, he's just a rich financier.
I really disagree. I thought that he was like very bad in the movie.
I think he's pretty good, but the character is like, even though he's supposed to come from this background where he should be the Van Helsing and have all the answers and stuff, he does kind of like sleepwalk through the movie in the same way
he
that
knows
like
nothing.
He knows nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
He has to read a book given to him by a dead man to be like, what's with vampires?
Yeah.
There's a lot of like internet speculation and discussion around Raiders of the Lost Ark of late about how like if you watch that movie, Indiana Jones technically does nothing.
Yeah.
Everything that happens in that movie would have happened anyway had Indiana Jones not been there, and this movie kind of feels the same. Like he's inconsequential to the plot, other than the fact that the one girl runs away with him at the end, but that's not even the girl that was afflicted with vampirism.
Yeah. Carl Theodor Dreyer had an interesting career. He began his career by writing the copy for title cards for silent films,
as did Alfred Hitchcock.
Is that right? I didn't know that about Hitchcock. And this was his first talkie, but it's barely a talkie because it had to be translated into English, German, and French. And as such, they kept the dialogue to a minimum and leaned very heavily on title cards like silent films.
And it's even speculated that they didn't even finish the English version since no version of it exists in the world.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Yeah, many elements of this were lost as well. And so they've recreated it from various prints and, you know, blah, 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 whatever they do. They're movie magic. Archivist magic. Because this actually was not very successful either. It was like not very critically loved. It didn't perform well financially. It was pretty much also lost. And in fact, Carl Theodor Dreyer did not make another movie for decades. So it doesn't turn up again until like the 1950s or 60s.
Yeah, he cropped back up in the 50s with a series of, again, kind of religious bent films like Ordette and really, really incredible films that he made later. But it's funny because Vampyr was intended, people asked him later in his career why he made Vampyr, and he kind of wrote it off later in his life as being like, oh, I wanted to make money. Like, vampires were popular at the time. London After Midnight had been, which is now a lost film, had been a huge success in England and had been credited by a murderer at the time for inspiring his violence.
Wow.
Obviously, Bela Lugosi was incredibly popular on the New York stage as Bram Stoker's Dracula, which would then be adapted into the film by Universal at the same time this movie was in production. And of course, Nosferatu had been made about 10 years earlier at a studio that Dreyer worked. So it's very, very evident that he at least had seen that film and was aware of it. Vampires were really like in vogue, and for this to not only be like a big like independently produced for the first time but also like genre film coming from an established respected director, which is something we've talked about a lot of times before. We talked about Michael Powell doing this. We talked about a lot of filmmakers kind of breaking from the norm and making this, and like it's usually perceived at first when the movie's like in production as like, oh, it's a commercial grab. They're gonna like make a more popular thriller. They're gonna make some money. it almost always turns out like, oh no, it really hurts their career.
Yeah.
The general public doesn't like this, and the respected critics don't like this. You're shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, was Carl respected? I mean, it feels like Juliet was Joan of Arc was also a flop.
It was a financial flop, but critically it did very well. It was highly
okay.
regarded. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, he's very, very, very fascinating. But there's an interview with him following the premiere of the movie. Not the cynicism of years later at not having done well, where someone asked him why he made it, and he said that he wanted to push new boundaries in filmmaking, that he wanted to try new things that hadn't been done before, and he said that he felt he was very successful in that. And he cited a lot of Gothic literature and classical Gothic paintings, along with again the like modernism, surrealism, cubism art movements that were happening in the fine art world at the same time. And he was trying to like bring those all together to bring the quality of Gothic literature and the tradition of classical painting into the cinema for the first time. And obviously we've seen a whole lot more of that since it would become a genre literally within that decade. And this is very much the like mold breaking film that kind of is able to unleash that, because all the like tricks and trappings and like dreamlike quality that this movie has is definitely feels like it's part and parcel with that history of literature. It feels not too dissimilar from the writings of Shelley and stuff like that, in the way that the Universal the first Universal Dracula film by Todd Browning kind of doesn't have as much. But you'll look, of course, like Hammer movies and later Universal, and especially like Val Lewton films and RKO in like the subsequent decade.
Yeah,
absolutely have. And of course now, obviously, that this movie had its big resurgence in the 90s. And when it was around everywhere on VHS, I think it's public domain now. So it's really like accessible. A lot of film schools teach it, and a lot of genre filmmakers cite it as being a major influence. I think one of the like Conjuring or Paranormal Activity filmmakers even cited it recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely do get that Gothic literature element to it. I also, with the filmmaking itself being so surrealistic, you could see how like, oh, I get how like Buñuel and Jodorowsky and people like that come out of this. You know what I mean? Like, you can really see that lineage there.
I know. It's always tempting to like watch stuff like this and be like, so Lynch, so David Lynch, but then like, there's ain't no way David Lynch has fucking watched Vampyr. I fucking like bet my life on it.
It was made before the 70s.
I mean,
that's when
possible.
we stopped watching movies, right?
Yeah, exactly. I doubt it. I mean, that's for a game at the end of the show, but I highly doubt it.
This is a movie that so like one of our listeners who's an old internet friend is a DJ in Atlanta, and he makes like these reels to play at the the club under the music, these like visual reels. And I was like, I want to do that. And he was like, you should. And so I was watching this thinking like I could take all of the best visual elements parts of this, mix them with other black and white things, and make like a killer reel for a party or a dance club.
I've always, and I've talked about this before on the show, that I've been kind of enamored for the past few years with this idea of taking public domain horror movies that are all black and white and recutting them together and see if I can form a narrative out of them. Sort of in the same way that Guy Madden made The Green Fog, a movie that's entirely made up of films shot in San Francisco, and reordering them to create the narrative of Vertigo. Which is fucking insane, but he was hired by a museum to do it, and it's awesome.
That's really cool.
But I feel like you could definitely take there's so much beauty in this movie, and taking it and repurposing it for a new audience, I think is, absolutely I would honestly love to see like this movie as is, but with an entirely new score of like Bauhaus and Typo Negative.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
don't recut the movie at all. Just put all that music on top of it. I will say, for this is an early sound film. This is maybe one of the earliest movies we've ever covered. There's bits of sound throughout. All of it, of course, was not recorded on set. They did shoot in actual locations. None of these are sound stages, even though they kind of look like them occasionally.
They do. They do.
The use of sound in this is fascinating because it's very, very deliberate. And so you'll occasionally get these intertitles explaining what's going on, or you'll get book pages of stuff like that. But you'll also get characters moving their lips and you don't hear anything. And you would be accustomed to that in silent films because you'd be like, oh, okay, we're going to get a dialogue card in a minute telling me what they just said. And then you would get nothing. And then another character would be like, yes, but the dogs that are barking. You're like, oh my God. Okay, so that's just how this sounds right now. That's fucking insane. I will also say, considering this movie's age, this might feel like an odd thing to say, but the narrative of this movie, the way the movie is shot, the cinematography by Rudolph Mattei, who would go on to be one of the most important cinematographers in the film noir world in the decades following. It's all very kind of like locked down and then floating. The camera will a character will walk in from the left side of the frame and the camera will pan hard right and track along to the right and the character will come back in through the right or something like that. And between the narrative and that camera movement and the way that it'll just stop and sit down and you'll like read a book, this movie feels like a 90s point and click video game.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I thought of like Wes Anderson, the way that the camera swings, like the camera's on one person and then someone else is speaking. So the camera just swings over to them and captures them and then swings back to the first person. I noticed that a lot, which doesn't feel very 1930s to me.
No.
I mean, so many films from the 30s and 40s are filmed essentially just like plays, right? You are in a wide shot and you watch people act and like you're just in that wide shot the whole scene. So this feels very forward thinking to me.
It's also worth noting that even though they shot on actual locations, that the production design and art direction was done by let me find his name, Herman Varm, who was the art director on The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Oh, really?
So there is a lineage and an importance, and he helped design a lot of the shadow sequences. And so like when you get a lot of the like gears in the mill and a lot of kind of the oppressive, very, very odd production design and art direction around that really kind of like traps in a lot of the characters. So many of the shots like fill the frame with things around characters, or it will be like negative white space and you'll only see the characters through like a weird wide window at the top of the frame or something like that. It's very, very beautiful and a very much more modernist take on the like expressionism that they were doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's so interesting to hear because I did of course think of Nosferatu and Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I didn't realize that he worked on that film as a production designer, but I was like, oh, this is like more grounded than I expected it to be. I expected it to be much more like German expressionism, but it feels more naturalistic to some degree. It's still very stylized, but so I'm just surprised to hear that.
I think because of the narrative of the movie and the amount of dreamlike material that they had planned for it, Trier really wanted to focus on verisimilitude to couch and ground that dreamlike atmosphere and plotting, which has been the case over time. That's the stuff that makes Stephen King's writing so good. The first half of every Stephen King book always just feels like a soap opera where you get to know all the characters in the town. Or like Buñuel's films are always very like they're not very fussy. There's like the characters are very, very grounded stylistically. There's not a lot of visual like extravagance going on. Everything feels very realistic. And so when all of a sudden they can't leave the dining room, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
It's also, I don't know, I just thought of like Robert Altman in the 70s, like Three Women, you know?
Yeah.
His movies are so dreamy and soft focused too, and are actually really grounded while feeling like a dream.
The soft focus, like foggy look to so much of the movie, I kind of
Yeah,
always
it's
chalked
so
up
gorgeous.
to like maybe they were shooting in fog, or maybe like it's a issue with the restoration where like
No, it was a
things aren't super
choice. I
clear.
read.
It was a choice, but it wasn't their intended choice. He wanted to make it like super crisp and clean and like brutal.
Oh,
And then when they got on the set and they started shooting stuff and looked at the first rushes and they saw how foggy things were turning out, he was like, "No, cool. Let's lean into that instead." That's awesome.
it's smart. It's smart to pivot. That just made me think of how I just love that kind of thing. Like, remember when we did Picnic at Hanging Rock and we learned that they covered the lenses with like silk, not silk, lace to make it
Yeah.
look that fuzzy. They just like put lace, like old white lace
Mhm.
over that. It's so cool. I love that kind of shit. I'm a sucker for it. Anything else to say about Vampyr?
As no one should be surprised by my love of both like Gothic literature, vampires, surreal cinema, and like Buñuel and like Guy Madden. Of course, this is clearly like a big one for Guy Madden. That something this goth and dreamy would be right up my alley, but it is. I love it. I think you should check it out. If you find yourself nodding off and falling asleep, just put on like a Bloodhaus playlist, and you'll get a second wind all the way through. I think this movie is a fucking 10. I think it's great. I deeply, deeply love independently made experimental cinema, and knowing that that's been going on since the 1930s, um, like at the dawn of cinema, and has been continuing the entire way through, just makes me so deeply happy. This is not the version of Carmilla that I would make. This is not the like sexy, like, ooh, booby lesbians, they suck in the blood that you would get in like the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, I feel like yours would be more of a who's that lesbian vampire filmmaker? Oh God,
Jean
who
Roland.
did Lips? Yeah, Jean Roland. That's
Yeah.
like that's Drusilla's version.
But this also has like the tone and style of a Jean Roland movie, just
It
without the
does.
like nudity.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, let's play Have They Seen It? The game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. I have someone in mind because I just mentioned one of their films, legendary art house Australian director Peter Weir. Do you think he's seen Vampyr?
I think he has, but I don't think he would have seen it before making Picnic at Hanging Rock.
No way.
I feel like he wouldn't have seen Vampyr until either the 90s or the 2000s, when it got a like clean restored DVD release in like I think '08 or something like that. I feel
It was
like he
kind of
maybe
lost before then, right?
yeah, very much so. The 90s, like in 1998 it was like reconstructed and restored by a German film lab. And it became like super prevalent on VHS at the time. So I think there's definitely a possibility he would have seen it within sometime between like I don't know, the late 90s to like 2010. I think he definitely would have seen it. I think he would very much like it. I also feel like he probably would have been familiar with Dreyer's later works, like Gertrude and Day of Wrath and stuff like that, and then would have been like, whoa, he did a what movie? And then like would have been very excited to check it out. I feel like he would love it.
I bet Peter Weir really likes vampires.
I would love to see a Peter Weir vampire movie.
It would be so good.
We nearly have a Peter Weir vampire movie just with cars and the cars that ate Paris.
Yeah, true.
And I don't know, the fucking Plumber is almost a vampire movie in ways.
God, we should do The Plumber sometime. That's a horror movie.
The Plumber rocks. Peter Weir's movies rock. The Last Wave rocks. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, this movie has like major goth credentials, and the visuals of it and the like costume design and makeup design it like have like massive echoes over the history of goth culture in the past 20-30 years. And there's someone that I'm thinking of who is both a large figure both for musically as a painter and illustrator, and in the world of television and comics as well. It's really, really, really big icon. Do you think that Gerard Way has seen Dreyer's Vampyr?
Yes. But same thing. I think only recently. Let me
Yeah.
just Google a picture of Gerard Way. I don't know. I need to see the face to know.
Gerard Way is so adorable. I will
He's so
say
cute.
the like design of the sister that's not afflicted, who appears on like the Criterion art release of the film, and who is the one that like walks away with Alan Gray at the end of the film. She looks so much like a character out of one of Gerard Way's paintings or out of the artwork for the Black Parade mural.
Yeah.
It's so deeply beautiful.
I had no idea that Gerard Way was a painter. I'm looking up some of his paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Or, illustrations, I guess these are. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
a lot of black, white, and red.
Yeah. To be expected, I guess.
Yeah, I think what was it? I think their second album, I think their first two albums, he painted the covers for. Anyway, love him. He's absolutely seamless, right? Come on.
Yeah. This is another musician. I thought of her because Donald Sutherland passed away this week. R.I.P. We are talking about him more next episode, which I'm spoiling now, I guess. But thinking about Donald Sutherland, of course, made me think about the things he's done. And one of those things that I love is he is the star of the Cloud Busting video by Kate Bush. It's Kate Bush and Donald Sutherland. Beautiful video, super weird, beautiful song. I mean, I wish Gen Z would rediscover that one too, because it's really good. It's one of my favorite Kate Bush songs. So do you think, weirdo British pop star Kate Bush has seen this movie? And before you answer, I'll remind you that her song Hounds of Love opens with an audio clip from the British horror movie Night of the Demons. So we know that she's seen Night of the Demons.
Yes. I not only do I think that she has seen Vampyr, I think she owns some multiple releases of the movie Vampyr. I think this is her version of like NyQuil or like a sleep aid. I think every single night Kate Bush crawls up to her bed at the top of a tower in a castle. This is how I imagine she lives.
Yeah.
And she puts her candelabra down and she blows out all 4 candles. And then she puts herself into her robe and then under a giant canopy bed. And then a TV rises from the granite floor. And she pops in a laser disc of Vampyr and goes to sleep to the soft sounds of kids? What kids? There's no kids here. There's no dogs here. And she goes,
She's so cool. Oh, I forgot her first hit song was called Wuthering Heights, which was an adaptation of the book Wuthering Heights. So she's all about this energy.
Which she famously only read half of at the time that she wrote the song.
She was also 19, which is incredible.
It reminds me
She's
of how
amazing.
The Coen brothers made "Oh Brother Where Art Thou" and credited Homer's The Odyssey on screen, and then in interviews they're like, "Oh, we've never read it." Oh, it's my turn. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So for a lot of people within both of our age demographics, right in between there, the title Vampyr, vampire, or whatever, that spelling of it is going to be most synonymous with viewers of a late 90s television show where it is inscribed on the cover of a book that appears in the opening credits of every single episode. That would be the late 90s queer teen gothic romance horror series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Incredible show that it is. I fucking doubt with every bone in my body that Sarah Michelle Gellar has seen this movie.
No way.
However, do you think that Anthony Stewart Head, the performer who plays Giles, who gives her the book, or James Marsters, the actor behind the bleach blonde beloved vampire Spike, have either seen Dreyer's Vampyr?
God, it's funny. I actually don't know anything about those actors. I saw Anthony Stewart Head in the Rocky Horror Show.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's
I
big.
know
He's a big theatrical performer.
he's like a West End guy. He does musicals, so
obviously
he's a little
Repo
bit
the Genetic
queer.
Opera.
I've never seen that, but I'm finding out live that he was in that.
Well, apparently we'll have to do that on Bloodhaus
Yeah.
soon.
And I don't know anything about James Marster either. Besides, I mean, I watched that show many times. I love that show, but I think of their characters and I don't know them as people. James Marster, is he kind of like a preppy normcore guy outside of that show, or am I making that up?
From Texas, and he has like a dad rock band with his son.
Interesting, dad rock. Okay, so I'm gonna go yes for Anthony Stewart Head and no for James Marsters. What do you think?
I think you'd be right. I
I
feel like Anthony Stewart Head probably would have like seen this coming on TV, or like he probably has a Criterion Channel subscription. I'm gonna be honest. He probably caught this in Criterion 24/7 and was like, that one's cool. Weird.
My gut tells me James Marsters is very different than Spike. Like, I bet he listens to like Allman Brothers, Dave Matthews Band, like, because he's from Texas. You know what I mean? I feel like he's really into barbecue and Dave Matthews. And I mean, I love Texas, by the way. So this is not a dig on Texas. This is a dig on James Marsters.
From what I can tell, he's very, very cool. He also wrote a lot of the Buffy comic books.
Oh, did he?
He co-wrote a lot of those.
I don't know anything about him.
Especially like the Spike ones. And apparently he like co-wrote a Spike feature screenplay with Joss Whedon that was never made.
Oh. Well, now I'm changing my tune again because that makes me feel like maybe he has seen it. I feel like I wasn't being charitable enough.
As far as I know, he's like a big like sci-fi horror guy. From my understanding, he does a lot of conventions. He's very, very vocal about that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's still a leap to have seen a movie from the 30s.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I don't think he's seen it.
I hadn't seen this.
Yeah.
You know?
I do. If any like cast member from that show has seen it, maybe like Juliet Lantow, who played Drusilla, because she just did that movie on vampires and stuff like that with Gary Oldman and Anne Rice. Like, I think I feel like if anyone has seen it, she has.
I could bet that Seth Green has seen this from Buffy.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I feel like maybe he's seen it. Amy Mann famously cameoed on Buffy. I bet she's seen it.
She's definitely seen it. Sarah Michelle Gellar's husband, Freddie Prinze Jr., has definitely seen this.
Yeah.
who has a horror podcast, by the way.
He does indeed.
They just covered friend of the show Michael Kennedy's the film that he wrote, Freaky, on Freddie Prinze Jr.'s horror podcast, and I was like, "That's adorable."
Oh, that's so fun.
And he talks about the like the like kiss scene in Freaky that's very famous with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah,
and it's so cute to watch. Fred from Scooby-Doo talk about like, that's like a really moving, important scene, and I get how like a young queer audience would like really like connect with that. And I'm like, this man rules. This man is the best. He also has a wrestling. They seem
like really nice people. Sarah and Freddie seem like really good people.
Yeah,
it's just solid.
They rule.
Anyway, that's it for this episode of Bloodhaus. Please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on X or Instagram. Drusilla, where are you?
You can find me and my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. A lot of art is up there. You can follow me on Letterboxd. If you look for Drusilla Adeline or Sister Hyde, you can find my review of Kinds of Kindness and also what I thought of the Gogol Bordello starring feature film, Everything is Illuminated.
Drusilla, I can't wait to look that up. I was at the premiere of that movie.
Whoa! That's crazy!
In New York, yeah.
It's one of Ivory's favorites, and it's also one of my ex's favorites, and so we watched it recently. Yeah, it's a very fun movie. It's very sweet. Yeah. We've been saying premiere a lot lately. Or,
sorry, I interrupted.
Premium film. Anyway, you can also follow me on Instagram at HydeSister. What about you, Josh? How can people read about where you lurk?
You can't find me. I'll be at a cottage in rural Washington State. But you can find me at Joshua Conkel on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I already spoiled next week a little bit. We are going to be talking about Donald Sutherland, whom we mourn and whom we love, of course. We've already done Don't Look Now early on. We're covering another Donald Sutherland favorite. What is it?
It's not Apprentice to Murder. It's not Die Die My Darling. It's not Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, even though all of those movies are super, super fun. It's not MASH. Even though you could make an argument for MASH being a horror film in 2024. We will be watching the star-studded Philip Kaufman directed remake of the science fiction horror chiller Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I can't wait. I love that movie so much. Bye.